There's a brilliant document that was just released by Various Wealth Capital that's saying that at the moment there's $2.4 billion, right? That is mandated investment for gender lend investing. 4 years ago, that was $100 million. Now, a lot of us aren't ready to get that capital, and that's fine, but the world is shifting, and we can do something about that. So I just want to go through a couple of the concepts really, really quickly. So what is Gender Lens about? So Gender Lens is really about looking at our ecosystem, looking at all the different cultures, ethnicities, and everything that applies in your particular area, and honouring that. Now, what do we mean by that? That means one size doesn't fit all, right? So what we're doing in Australia, we're not going to take and do it in India. What we're doing in India, we can't just automatically take and apply it to Fiji. It just won't work there. We're also considering gender lens and power and privilege, and how we're saying it advantages some genders and it oppresses some genders, and we'll work with that. But another really important concept, and one that's really important from my perspective, is the intersectionality of multitude of issues, which actually compounds the effect of the oppression and the advantage. So what do I mean by that? That means that, for example, if I'm in a meeting, when I was a junior engineer and I went into a meeting, and for some reason, everyone in the meeting, which were often white Anglo-Saxon men, they just wouldn't consider anything I was saying. I was sitting there and I was thinking, is this because I'm female? Is this because I'm Indian? Is this because I'm small and I'm of a different ethnic background? And you can never know, right? And that's been my whole life, as it would have been for a lot of you. When we look at gender, when we look at power, we really have to consider all these other issues as well, and that's what makes it more complex. But if you don't look at all of that, then any action you're trying to do to disrupt all of these, it just won't happen. So how do we apply this to our work, right? I'm going to give you a couple of really simple examples, and then I want you guys to actually workshop with each other as well. So for example, if we're looking at entrepreneurs, how do we select entrepreneurs into our accelerator? So I'm going to give examples from my perspective and also from ygap's perspective. And I want to stress that because it might not apply to all of you guys, but I want to say that this is what we found. So who's on the selection panel? So recently, in our selection panel, we've decided to do blind selections, right? And one of my team members who's been doing it for the last 7 years, he's like, oh, Manita, it's too hard. I need to know if it's a guy or a girl who's running this. I'm like, why? You know, that's just, it's in him that he just needs to know. But can we do that differently? Is the panel made up of all men? Is the panel made up of all entrepreneurs? Are they all from a certain region? Is that going to influence who's actually coming in to your accelerator or incubator? And then if we look at accessibility, so we run a 5-day workshop similar to this, where we ask people to come. What we found in Bangladesh at one point is we were getting all male applicants, right? Why was that? You know, why weren't female entrepreneurs in Bangladesh applying to our program? Was it a cost issue? No, we didn't actually charge them. We still don't. Was it a religious issue? Maybe. Was it the fact that it was Aaron and I facilitating, right? And we're not Bangladeshi? Was that an issue? So how accessible is it? And the last one is, and we're going to have a few people talk about this, is in the investor space. We know that accelerators and incubators provide a brilliant pipeline for investors, yeah? And that's what we're trying to do with our entrepreneurs. What we are finding is some of our best investors and our donors are trying to tell us who to bring in, right? And they don't know. They have really good intent, and they're amazing people, and we love them and we honor them, but they don't know what happens on the ground. They don't know the complexities of one of our entrepreneurs in Bangladesh who's setting up a medical clinic in the slums in Dhaka, right? They won't know. They will look at some numbers and so this is the other way we're looking at it. So they're very quick examples. So it's not easy, okay? And we have to be really, really deliberate about this. But you as intermediaries, all of us, we've got the power to do this, and that's what we're going to work on. So for the next 10 minutes, I'm not going to speak. I want you guys to work together, and you should have some of the program partners. Where are the program partners? You put your hands up? Great. So we're all spread out. We want to work together, and we're just going to work on two things, right? We really want to understand your understanding of the concepts of gender, of power, privilege, bias. What does it mean in your language? What does it mean in your culture? How does it operate in the countries that you work in? That's what we'd really like to know, and if you can bring some examples, that would be great. Okay, so you've got some post-it notes, just come together and have that discussion, and we'll reconvene in about 10 minutes. One thing I forgot to mention, and I think it's so great that the first two speakers were guys, because sometimes when we talk about gender, automatically everyone thinks it's a women's issue, right? I know from my board level, and Aaron and I are both directors on our board, now that they know I'm looking at this, oh, that's fine. Got an ethnic female CEO looking at gender issues, tick, done, right? No. Gender isn't about women, it isn't about men, it's about everyone, right? I have a son and a daughter. I don't want the world to be better for one or the other. I want it better for everyone, okay? And transgender, and people who don't identify as a gender. That's what's really, really important as well. So, another thing to have your pens ready for. 4 takeaways. If you don't remember anything that I've talked about this 30 minutes, that's absolutely fine. I really would like you to just consider these 4. Okay, you guys as intermediaries, all of us as intermediaries, we actually have the power, a really good power, to disrupt these power dynamics, right? Most of us don't know how to do this yet, and that's what we're going to do on day 3, but I want you to really believe you've got the power to do this. We've seen this happen. ygap are doing certain things, Spring are doing certain things, and we will talk about this. The key concepts that we've talked about, gender, power, privilege, bias, right? I want you to keep looking at these in all the sessions that you're going to be covering from here until Wednesday afternoon when we come back to this, the gender workshop again. Intersectionality. So this again is really complex. If it doesn't resonate with you, come and talk to one of us, but just know that the concepts of power and how it works in our ecosystem is driven a lot, again, by the intersectionality of multiple issues. So think about it. We were speaking here about the fact that it's not just women, but it's about religion as well, that compounds the effect. And then the last one, second last one, is that one size does not fit all. Now we talked about this as well. So what happens in Australia is not what's going to work in Fiji. We know that. And again, we're not looking at solutions yet, so just remember that. And then the last one, which I've put in big highlights, we've already talked about, that it's not just about females. Okay. And that is it. Thank you. We'll reconvene again.